Y'all really need to put some respect on the Weeknd's name and the music that he's been dropping lately, because yeah, y'all tripping, man. What's up, YouTube? My name is Jason, and this is my take. And I'm back with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about The Weeknd album, Dawn FM. Canadian singer-songwriter, The Weeknd, also known as Abel, I don't even know what his last name is, but everybody just says Abel, is back with another album. Shockingly, in less than a year's time, just about, or a little over a year, it's been since we last heard from The Weeknd. So I was shocked that we even got this album in the first place. But The Weeknd is such a huge artist. Rose to fame back in his more R&B days. When I think about albums like House of Balloons, which is a part of Trilogy, Kissland, Starboy, like The Weeknd is a vibe, man. I love this dude. I love what he does with his voice. I love, the dark, melancholy, production and his tones and what he dives into. It's just so amazing, man. Like I love it. Honestly, in that run of albums that I listed, the only album that I probably didn't like as much was this album here, Beauty Behind the Madness. And I think this album was kind of The Weeknd's transition into being a bigger and more mainstream artist, but some of the directions that he went in didn't really move me and felt odd compared to his other stuff. But still, we got some of his most infamous tracks on this project as well. But it's in 2020 where The Weeknd really went into a new direction and dropped this bad boy over here, After Hours. Now, there was a lot of talk on both sides in terms of how people felt about this. A lot of people, wanting more of the R&B Weeknd rather than the pop direction that The Weeknd went on with this album. Me personally, I love this album. I think that we've been seeing this coming for a while, honestly. From all those projects that I mentioned, there are always elements of pop and synth pop in these projects, in these songs. And it seemed like it just kept building and building up to this point. Even an album like Starboy, there was a lot of that on there. And you had Daft Punk on there, Daft Punk influences. So this didn't shock me at all. And I enjoyed this ride. And I honestly wanted more of it. I wanted to see how much more The Weeknd can build upon this sound, this vintage 80s sound. And here we have Dawn FM. A little over a year later, it seems like a year or two, where we get more of that. And we have narration by Jim Carrey. And to kind of explain the concept of the album here, Dawn FM is, this track list, this album is like a radio station that sees Jim Carrey talking us through this dark void, this dark place, and he's guiding us to the end of the tunnel, the light. And I'm still trying to figure that part out. I don't know if this is he's guiding us to heaven as we're leaving this dark place and ascending up. I don't know exactly what that part is, but that piece as a whole, that dark void and getting to that light at the end of the tunnel is kind of how this album is structured, and what The Weeknd and Jim Carrey from a narration standpoint were going for. And I thought that was really cool. And hearing that before going into the album, I was really excited to see how this would sound and how it would play out. And hearing Jim Carrey in a more serious, type of tone and narration, because we know him as that funny comedic guy who's been in serious roles, but hearing him in this type of way, I was really excited to hear. And so Dawn FM, we have it here, and man, I like this album more than I like the last one, more than I like After Hours. The Weeknd is super comfortable in this lane, and I am so 100% here for it. It seems like he took that vintage 80s sound and beefed it up even more on this thing. This thing is very cohesive. All the songs transition into the others beautifully. we have pieces where it actually does sound like the radio's turning, or there are transitions, and we get little skits here and there. But this thing, top to bottom, is one of the best projects I've heard from The Weeknd overall, without question. I'm like really enjoying The Weeknd, just getting comfortable and really just finding his own in this lane. And the stuff that y'all been saying about it and not liking it, and not understanding it, or more importantly talking about like Tory Lanez's like 80s prom album was better. Like, are y'all new to this sound? Like, I'm not gonna go on a rant. Let's let's dive into this album and why I enjoy it so much, and just the many highlights that are on it. After a little bit of singing and Jim Carrey, kind of introducing himself and guiding us through on the intro, we go into the song Gasoline that has such a nice groove. And I love The Weeknd on this track, specifically the notes and his cadence over this like nice drum groove. He also, like, it was weird, like on the hook he went into a lower octave when he was singing. I saw a lot of people talking about feeling weird about it or not understanding it, and it was a little weird for me at first, but it really grew on me, just that part. I never heard his voice like that, but it really stuck to me, and like it's catchy at this point, but super unexpected though. Another song being Take My Breath. This is one of my favorite songs on the project, and those high harmonies that are on this song that The Weeknd provide are just so perfect, man. Oh my goodness. And also, this was one of the first songs where you kind of hear the transition from the other song. How we kind of heard this drum groove on the song How Do I Make You Love Me at the very end, how it transitioned into this song Take My Breath was perfect. And like I said, that drum groove, that drum break just had my head nodding the whole time. Like, it was perfect. It was a great pop track. I think hands down my favorite song on this album is the song Sacrifice. The opening stretch of the song really gave me 80s like Michael Jackson vibes, and that I felt that on other songs as well, but more so on this song. Like, it was really apparent, and I've heard people even talk about like how The Weeknd, not just here but on a lot of other stuff, kind of sounds like Michael Jackson, like his voice, and it really stuck out to me on this album more than anything. So that was really cool to hear, and a little nostalgic as well. Also, I'm curious, like, when the full beat drops on this song Sacrifice, did it not remind y'all of Alicia Myers' I Want to Thank You? That's all that was stuck in my head, and I think it's what really made this song stick for me, because I love that song as well. But like, let me know in the comments, did it remind y'all of that song? Or like, if you haven't heard that song, listen to it and like let me know in the comments if you think that it kind of sounds similar to it. A Tale by Quincy was pretty interesting. It was just a small skit that sees Quincy Jones just diving into some of his past and talking about how his childhood and his parents and his upbringing really affected him more negatively, just in terms of being close with people, whether it's romantically or friendly, and having to remove himself from that just because of those abandonment and attachment issues that he's had and experienced even as a child. I thought that was pretty interesting. And the groove at the end of it leads right into the next song, At a Time. And this song was kind of like a breath of fresh air. Like, it actually was a little bit of a transition in sound, because up to this point it was very hard-hitting pop, synth type songs. And this one felt really, really more relaxed. Like, it felt like it doesn't sound like this Michael Jackson song, but it gave me like Human Nature vibes, and just like that softer like type of accessible pop sound. And I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel like too harsh of a transition from what we were already hearing. Here We Go Again sees The Weeknd teaming up with Tyler, the Creator. I wasn't expecting a Tyler, the Creator feature, given the sound of the album up to this point, but Tyler, the Creator, time and time again, just proves that he can really do anything in this music thing. Like there's nothing he can't do. He provides a very dope verse and fit perfectly over this. The synths and how they came in, especially in the beginning of this song as The Weeknd starts singing, were just heavenly, perfect. And It led into Tyler's verse, and his flows on here, man, just blew me away, man. I really enjoyed this collab. I Heard You Were Married was an interesting track that sees The Weeknd teaming up with Lil Wayne. And hearing Lil Wayne on this song with more of that auto-tune, it really brought me back to like Rebirth, which is not a good Lil Wayne album in my opinion, but there's so much nostalgia behind this when you think about Prom Queen and Fire, and different things like that. Like, it just took me back to that place when I heard Lil Wayne on it, and I actually enjoyed it. On the tail end of this album, the song Less Than Zero was really a standout to me. The sparkling light lead on the chorus like gave this track so much color. It was so beautiful. And this song came with a more simple pop drum break, drum pattern, but it still was so effective in what The Weeknd was doing and executed beautifully. Listen, there are only like couple like tracks that didn't hit as hard as the others. It's not even that they were boring or underwhelming, but the strengths of the other tracks just kind of made these stick out and that they didn't live up to it. More specifically, the songs Starry Eyes and Don't Break My Heart, in my honest opinion, just didn't, you know, pack that punch like the other tracks did. But still enjoyable and still like fit well into this track list and its cohesion. The last thing I want to speak on is Jim Carrey. This man, really, his voice was so therapeutic on here as he's just talking throughout the album. He had his own track at the very end where he's kind of like rapping a little bit, rhyming words, I'll say. And man, it just sounded so good, man. Like, I don't know, like hearing him like this really brought me back to Truman Show and just like the seriousness of that role. Jim Carrey is just like a very versatile actor. And I didn't know that I enjoyed his voice this much as well. So big shout out to him and what he did with The Weeknd on this project. Look, overall, man, I don't care what y'all say. The Weeknd makes amazing pop music. And like I said, if this is the direction he's going in for like the rest of his career, I'm 100% behind it. The Weeknd has those classics on the R&B soul side of things. But what we're seeing now, we should have seen from the beginning. It was inevitable that he'd get to this point, and I've just been blown away by what he's doing. His singing continues to elevate. The production and the collaborators that he has on these projects just makes for great music, man, honestly. And I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to what he's doing next. So I'm gonna give this project an 8 out of 10. So what did you guys think of this new The Weeknd album? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite tracks? Let's have a discussion down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow, I got a local artist review coming to end the week off. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Jason. This has been my take, and I'll see you guys next time.